There is an ancient ritual so disturbing that the kingdom responsible for it erased every written reference. It was performed only once. Witnesses claimed the screams carried through the jungle for days. After that night, it was outlawed forever. This is the story of the Drum of Offering, a ritual so horrifying that even its priests refused to repeat it. Centuries ago, parts of mainland Southeast Asia experienced a devastating drought. Regions of what is now Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand were once home to small, isolated kingdoms influenced by Hindu and Buddhist beliefs, by animism, and by ancestor worship. In these cultures, disasters like drought and crop failure were often seen as signs that the spirits of the land had been offended. Historical records from the area describe rituals that involved animal sacrifices, spirit appeasement ceremonies, trance drumming, and offerings to rivers and forests. Some communities believed that loud drums could carry prayers into the spirit world. None of those rituals involved torture, but the belief that suffering could attract the attention of powerful spirits created the foundation for something much darker. According to later legends, one small kingdom was hit harder than the others. Its rivers dried up, its crops failed. People began to abandon their homes. The chief priests warned that the land itself was dying and that only a willing human soul could restore balance. The priests claimed that if one person offered their life in a special ritual, the spirits of the land would be satisfied and the rains would return. They needed a volunteer. In many traditional societies, including some in Southeast Asia, people were under enormous pressure to show devotion. Refusing a request from a priest could be seen as cowardice. Eventually, a young man stepped forward. Stories say he did it to protect his family. The priest then built something that does not match any known ritual device in the region. It was a hollow wooden chamber carved from the trunk of a jackfruit tree, a tree considered sacred in some traditions. The chamber was large enough for a person to fit inside and was shaped like an enormous drum. The inside was sanded smooth. The outside was reinforced with leather straps, like the body of a ceremonial instrument. At sunset, the young man was led into the chamber. Villagers said they could hear him praying. Then the priests sealed the opening. The drumming began. In many cultures, drums are part of communication with the spirit world. The priests claimed that this drum would create vibrations strong enough to shake the soul loose from the body. They began to strike the outside of the wooden chamber with thick wooden mallets. The sound was deafening. People standing nearby said the air itself seemed to vibrate. The priests struck the chamber in slow, heavy rhythms that grew faster and more intense. At first, the young man shouted along with the beating of the drum. Then he began to scream. Witnesses said his voice changed from fear to begging. Some villagers tried to rush forward, but guards held them back. Stopping the ritual, the priests warned, would doom them all. The drumming went on through the night. The jungle around them shook with the sound. Birds fled from the trees. Dogs and livestock panicked. Some villagers covered their ears and hid inside their homes because the vibrations made their bones ache. By morning, the jungle was silent. When the ruler of the kingdom arrived, the priests opened the chamber. What they saw inside horrified them. The man's body was not cut or broken on the outside, but his posture was twisted in an unnatural way. And on the smooth wooden walls around him were carvings that none of them recognized. The symbols did not match any script used in the region. Not Khmer, not Mon, not Thai, not Sanskrit. No one knew what they meant. The ruler ordered the ritual banned. The chamber was burned. The priests were stripped of their roles and exiled from the kingdom. No one was allowed to speak of the Drum of Offering again. Over time, the kingdom itself collapsed. Wars, migration, and new rulers erased most of its history. But the story of the drum survived in whispers. Villagers told their children that if they heard drumming at night in the jungle, they should never follow the sound. Centuries later, during the period of European exploration in Southeast Asia, French travelers recorded a strange local legend about a ritual drum that killed a man from the inside. One account describes the remains of a large wooden cylinder found deep in the forest, half buried and rotting. According to their notes, faint carvings were still visible inside. Some scholars think the carvings were just the trails of insects and natural cracking of the wood. Others believe they came from the victim's fingernails as he tried to scratch his way out. A few think the symbols were part of the ritual itself, something added after the man was already gone. The supposed remains of the chamber were collected and taken away. After that, they disappeared into private collections. Today, no one can prove that the drum of offering ever truly existed. There are no official records, no surviving temple texts, only scattered oral stories and a few lines in old travel journals. But the legend still lingers in the region. A ritual performed once and never repeated. A drum that spoke to the spirits through human suffering. A chamber whose walls were marked by symbols no one could read. Some say it is only a story, a warning against the extremes of human belief. Others think it is based on something real, something so disturbing that an entire kingdom agreed to erase it from history. And maybe that is the most unsettling part. If this is only one ritual that survived as a rumor, how many others were carried out in the dark and then buried so completely that we will never hear of them at all?